What drives a submarine crew into the silent darkness beneath the waves, where one mistake can erase an entire vessel from history forever? Imagine slipping into a steel tube built for war, and wondering if the mission ordered from above is based on truth or on fear. These films reveal courage, secrecy, and missions that governments tried to forget. Get ready to dive deeper into what was real and what Hollywood shaped into legend. Number 12. U-571, 2000. U-571 arrived with the reputation of a bold, patriotic thriller that pushed audiences into the world of stealth combat at sea. It sold itself as a heroic tale of American sailors capturing an enemy code machine during the height of the Second World War. But the truth behind the film was far more tangled and controversial, and its release stirred reactions no one expected. The story follows a group of young American crew members sent aboard a damaged enemy submarine in a desperate attempt to seize critical cipher technology. The mission is staged with thundering depth charges, tight claustrophobic corridors, and a rising sense of doom. Hollywood portrayed the action with dramatic sacrifice, layered tension, and a constant fear of discovery in the icy Atlantic waters. Yet behind the scenes, a quiet storm formed around what the film was claiming as true history. Historians and veterans quickly stepped forward because the real mission that inspired this storyline was carried out by British sailors, not American. The moment the film premiered, some whispered that entire chapters of naval bravery were being rewritten for blockbuster appeal. Others accused the production of erasing important sacrifices while proudly inflating a different narrative. Government officials from overseas even expressed formal disappointment, which pushed the studio into awkward damage control. Behind the scenes, the production also faced issues at sea. Crews struggled with wet sets, malfunctioning hydraulic systems, and unpredictable ocean conditions. Some days the team waited for hours as the weather shifted, turning the surface of the water into a violent, shaking wall. Despite all these challenges, the final cut appeared polished, thrilling, and packed with momentum. In the years that followed, U-571 lived on as a cult debate piece. Some viewers embraced it as bold filmmaking, while others kept returning to the real mission and the voices ignored along the way. Yet one truth remained untouched. War stories change when they reach the screen, and sometimes the silence beneath the surface hides more than torpedoes. Number 11. Phantom, 2013. Phantom entered theaters with a reputation for being one of the most unusual submarine thrillers of its decade. It promised espionage, Cold War paranoia, and the final mission of a haunted commander facing enemies both outside and inside his own mind. Although the film quietly passed through the box office, its mysterious tone and chilling atmosphere kept viewers talking long after. The story follows a Soviet submarine captain fighting to keep his final voyage under control. His crew boards an aging vessel outfitted with a secret device capable of altering sonar signatures. What begins as a routine journey becomes a nightmare of suspicion. Strange signals echo through the hull. Officers argue in narrow passageways. Shadows move where no one expects them. The air grows heavy, and every man aboard wonders if they will return home or be erased without explanation. The real inspiration came from a classified Cold War incident involving a submarine that vanished under uncertain circumstances. Some believed it suffered a catastrophic malfunction. Others whispered about rogue missions and undeclared operations. Phantom leaned into that uncertainty, shaping a tale where truth bends and loyalty fractures under pressure. Yet the film faced criticism from government advisors who claimed it twisted sensitive history into myth. Behind the scenes, the production dealt with cramped sets and intense psychological preparation. Actors had to perform in tight metal corridors with barely any room to move. Technicians struggled with the low lighting that created the signature oppressive atmosphere. Some scenes had to be reshot repeatedly, as the slightest shake in the set ruined the illusion of deep ocean stillness. Phantom eventually grew into a quiet cult classic. Audiences who discovered it later admired its willingness to explore fear, loyalty, and the hidden missions of the Cold War. Its legacy now rests on a haunting truth. Sometimes the scariest battles are fought in the mind long before any torpedo is fired. Number 10. K-19. The Widowmaker, 2002. K-19. The Widowmaker exploded into public view with a reputation for being one of the most intense submarine dramas ever produced. Starring major Hollywood icons, it promised a deep dive into courage, disaster, and human endurance. Yet beneath its dramatic surface lay the chilling truth of a real Soviet mission marked by tragedy, secrecy, and long-buried consequences. The film follows the crew of a nuclear submarine racing to complete sea trials despite dangerous flaws in its construction. When a catastrophic reactor failure erupts, the men aboard face lethal radiation. The story unfolds through desperate repair attempts, emotional confrontation, and the terrifying countdown of a vessel on the edge of nuclear detonation. Hollywood amplified the suspense, but the real events were even darker. The true mission involved sailors who sacrificed themselves to prevent a global disaster. Many suffered fatal radiation exposure, while the incident was concealed for years by government authorities. When the film finally reached audiences, some officials criticized it for exposing sensitive history. Others argued that the portrayal still softened the true suffering endured by the crew. Families of the sailors experienced renewed grief as long-hidden memories resurfaced. Behind the scenes, production difficulties echoed the intensity of the narrative itself. Filming took place on actual decommissioned submarines, with narrow compartments sequence that challenged every camera move. Actors experienced physical exhaustion and emotional strain. Several scenes had to be halted due to equipment overheating. Water sequences led to injuries and delays, as the cold conditions tested both cast and crew. Despite its initial box office struggle, K-19 eventually found new life. As viewers began re-examining its historical weight, the film became a symbol of unspoken heroism and the price paid by men whose stories were nearly erased. Its legacy reminds us of a heavy truth. Some missions stay secret not to protect nations, but to protect the souls who carried them. Number 9, Greyhound, 2020. Greyhound arrived with the reputation of a sharp, relentless naval thriller that refused to slow down for even a single breath. It was celebrated for its precision pacing and emotional weight as viewers followed a commander guiding his convoy through deadly waters. The film felt modern, yet deeply respectful, and it carried echoes of real missions performed during the darkest days of the Second World War. The story follows a new captain leading an escort group across the Atlantic as enemy submarines lurk beneath the waves. Every moment is built with rising tension. Sonar pings echo through the steel corridors. Officers repeat contact reports with trembling voices. The commander battles fatigue, guilt, and the crushing fear of losing ships under his protection. Each attack unfolds through thunderous explosions and the cold, sinking silence that follows. Greyhound drew inspiration from real Battle of the Atlantic operations, where convoys struggled to survive endless enemy assaults. The film was not banned, but it did spark conversations among historians. Some insisted the script simplified complex naval tactics. Others said it brought rare attention to sailors whose missions were often forgotten. A few critics whispered that certain details were softened for modern audiences, but no one denied its emotional truth. Behind the scenes, the production was surprisingly chaotic. Long digital shoot days tested everyone involved. The visual effects team struggled to create storms realistic enough to match eyewitness accounts from survivors. Actors spent hours inside narrow replica compartments, while lights flickered to mimic battle damage. At times, the sound design team had to rebuild entire sequences because the echoes inside metal chambers became too overwhelming for microphones. Greyhound resurfaced as a fan favorite after its digital release. Military viewers praised its respectful tone and attention to emotional strain. Younger audiences admired its intensity. The film became a quiet tribute to unnamed heroes who crossed dangerous seas with no expectation of recognition. Its legacy reveals a simple truth. Courage often belongs to those history forgets until a story brings their struggle back to light. Number 8, Hunter Killer, 2018. Hunter Killer arrived with the reputation of a bold, high-stakes action thriller that tried to blend real naval tension with explosive blockbuster energy. Audiences were divided. Some embraced its fast pace, while others questioned its depiction of submarine warfare. Yet the film drew inspiration from true Cold War procedures and clandestine missions that pushed crews to the edge of survival. The story follows a newly appointed American submarine captain sent on a mission to rescue a foreign leader who has been kidnapped by rogue military forces. As the plot unfolds, the submarine crew faces stealth encounters, underwater political danger on land, and a relentless race against time. Hollywood built it as a hybrid of suspense and action, featuring daring rescues, tense navigation sequences, and a dramatic face-off between distrustful allies. The controversy came from the film's suggestion of real political scenarios. Advisors from different nations criticized the idea of foreign coups presented as credible possibilities. Some argued that specific submarine tactics were revealed too boldly. Others said the film fueled unnecessary speculation about secret missions still classified. A small wave of online theories began to circulate as viewers tried to identify which events might have inspired certain scenes. Behind the scenes, the film met with several production issues. Sets built to resemble heavy steel compartments overheated under studio lights. Actors struggled to move naturally within extremely narrow spaces. Technical teams had to repeatedly adjust water tank effects to avoid unrealistic flow across the hull models. Some days, entire sequences were reshot because the coordination between digital elements and practical stunts failed to sync. Over time, Hunter Killer developed a loyal fan base. Many admired its unique blend of geopolitical tension and submarine drama. Others appreciated its attempt to modernize the genre. Its legacy now rests on its daring approach. It dared to ask the forbidden question: what if a single hidden mission could alter the balance between nations? Number 7, Run Silent, Run Deep, 1958. Run Silent, Run Deep entered cinema history with a reputation for being one of the most intense submarine dramas of its era. Audiences admired its sharp storytelling, while veterans respected its attempt to portray the psychological strain of underwater combat. The film drew loosely from real events and real tensions between officers during wartime missions. The story follows a determined commander obsessed with defeating an enemy submarine that once outmaneuvered him. His new crew questions his judgment as he enforces harsh training routines and secret tactics. The tension grows with every dive drill. Water drips from the overhead pipes. Sweat builds on anxious faces. The ocean becomes a battlefield of sonar echoes and silent maneuvers where one wrong decision could send the vessel to the ocean floor. The controversy surrounding the film came from disagreements with real naval accounts. Some veterans insisted that certain character conflicts were exaggerated. Others felt the film portrayed a style of command that risked mutiny in real life. Studio executives initially worried that these disputes would damage the release, but the growing interest only fueled more curiosity. Some whispered that Hollywood had softened the real conflicts to avoid offending higher authorities. Behind the scenes, the production battled technical limitations. Submarine sets repeatedly flooded due to overused water effects. Mechanical systems powering the periscope and diving planes malfunctioned during key shots. Actors dealt with heat exhaustion as lights transformed the cramped compartments into metallic ovens. Despite these challenges, the final product felt authentic enough to resonate with sailors who had lived through similar missions. Run, Silent, Run Deep became a lasting classic. Film scholars still study its portrayal of leadership, obsession, and sacrifice. Veterans continued recommending it to younger generations as a glimpse into the intensity of wartime service. Its legacy endures as a reminder that beneath the surface, every commander fights both the enemy and the ghosts of failure. Number 6. Das Boot, 1981. Das Boot arrived with a reputation that shattered expectations. It was not simply a war film. It was a claustrophobic emotional descent into the soul of submarine warfare. Audiences and critics hailed it as one of the most realistic portrayals ever captured on screen. Veterans said it came closest to the true terror endured during wartime missions. But behind this towering success lay a storm of controversy, truth, and artistic obsession. The story follows the crew of a German submarine as they carry out patrol missions across hostile waters. Air attacks force them deeper into the abyss. Machinery groans under crushing pressure. Men stagger from exhaustion as sweat drips into the tight metal spaces. Hollywood often romanticizes war, but this film embraced the opposite. It showed boredom, fear, hunger, and shaking hands scraping against steel walls during battles no one wanted. Controversy erupted almost immediately. Some groups claimed the film painted enemy sailors too sympathetically. Others argued it revealed uncomfortable historical realities that many preferred to forget. Critics debated whether it humanized the wrong side or exposed the human cost of war more honestly than anyone expected. Government officials in certain nations objected to screenings. Some theaters faced protests while others embraced packed houses wanting to witness raw truth. Behind the scenes, the production nearly broke its own cast. The director insisted that actors work in a fully enclosed submarine set. It had no removable walls, so cameras squeezed between pipes and bolts. Temperatures soared and oxygen felt thin. Actors passed out during extended scenes. Makeup mixed sweat with soot to mimic engine grime. Every shot took patience, endurance, and physical sacrifice. Despite every hardship, Das Boot endured and became a legend. It resurfaced decades later as restored versions and extended cuts revived global interest. Film schools now study its immersive techniques and emotional realism. The legacy it carries is profound. It reminds us that beneath the waves, soldiers on any side are simply human beings fighting battles they never asked to face. Number 5. Black Sea, 2014. Black Sea surfaced with a reputation for being a gritty treasure hunt thriller set within a world of decaying submarines and fractured loyalties. It was not a traditional war story, but it drew heavily from real Cold War salvage operations involving lost gold, sunken vessels, and reckless secret missions. Audiences felt its tension, while historians recognized echoes of true expeditions cloaked in political secrecy. The story follows a disgraced submarine captain offered one last chance at redemption. He leads a mismatched crew of veterans and civilians into dangerous waters to retrieve rumored treasure from a lost vessel abandoned decades earlier. As tensions rise, greed festers. Crew members whisper in dark corners. Betrayal becomes as deadly as flooding compartments. The submarine itself becomes a graveyard waiting for one mistake to seal their fate. Controversy emerged when viewers connected the film to real salvage operations carried out by Cold War nations. Some insisted the film exposed methods still classified. Others worried it fueled theories about missing gold shipments and covert missions buried by governments. A few critics believed its depiction of unstable international alliances hit too close to current political tensions. The studio deflected questions, fueling even more curiosity. Behind the scenes, the crew faced tough technical challenges. The submarine set was built with narrow, rust-covered chambers that forced actors to hunch and crawl. Lighting teams struggled to create natural shadows without overheating the cramped metal environment. Scenes involving flooding tanks caused repeated delays when at water pressure damaged props. Yet every setback added realism and texture to the final cut. Black Sea slowly grew into a cult maritime thriller. Fans appreciated its stark atmosphere and grounded tension. Others admired its willingness to explore greed and desperation beneath the waves. Its legacy rests on a simple, haunting idea. Ships sink, secrets drown, but some truths never stay buried forever. Number 4. The Enemy Below, 1957. The Enemy Below entered cinemas with a powerful reputation. It was praised for presenting both sides of a wartime chase with fairness and emotional weight. Audiences admired its balanced approach, while veterans respected respected its refusal to demonize enemy sailors. Inspired by real naval engagements, the film revealed the intense chess game played between submarine and destroyer commanders. The story unfolds as two skilled leaders engage in a deadly duel across open waters. One commands a destroyer, the other commands a hidden submarine. Each predicts the other's move. Depth charges thunder across the surface. Torpedoes streak through the deep. Every moment feels like a test of intelligence, patience, and resolve. The ocean becomes a vast arena shaped by silent strategy and human instinct. Controversy sparked when early viewers noticed how respectfully the film treated both commanders. Some argued that post-war audiences were not ready for such empathy. Others believed the narrative emphasized shared humanity at a time when political tensions were rising again. Certain theaters reported complaints. A few critics whispered that the film undermined patriotic sentiment by portraying the enemy with dignity. Production itself was equally challenging. Filming at sea meant unpredictable weather. Waves ruined shot after shot. The crew battled seasickness while cameras risked water damage. Sound designers struggled with overpowering wind that drowned out important dialogue. Yet through all the chaos, the team pushed forward, capturing a realism that many later praised as groundbreaking. The enemy below eventually earned classic status. Military historians often recommend it for its accurate depiction of naval tactics. Fans still admire the quiet symbolism between leaders who understand the cost of war too deeply to hate blindly. Its legacy is a reminder that beneath every uniform beats a heart shaped by fear, duty, and the desperate hope to survive another day. Number 3. Crimson Tide, 1995. Crimson Tide stormed into theaters with a reputation for explosive tension and razor-sharp command conflict. Audiences called it one of the most gripping submarine thrillers ever made, while veterans praised its accurate portrayal of leadership stress under nuclear threat. Yet beneath the Hollywood style, intensity lies a foundation built on real-world Cold War fears, chain of command disputes, and protocols that nearly sparked disaster more than once. The story follows a veteran captain and a younger executive officer who clash fiercely during a nuclear standoff. Their submarine receives partial orders, suggesting that a hostile force might be preparing to launch devastating weapons. But the message is incomplete. What follows is a psychological battle as dangerous as any torpedo strike. Officers whisper in tight corridors. The crew senses dividing loyalties. Every decision becomes a test of moral strength and self-control. Crimson Tide drew inspiration from real strategic alert situations, where nuclear crews received unclear or conflicting messages. Historians have documented several events during the Cold War when miscommunication nearly triggered catastrophic retaliation. The film amplified this truth, showing how the smallest crack in authority could unleash consequences beyond imagination. Some advisors criticized it, claiming the film exaggerated submarine procedures. Others argued it revealed how close the world came to disaster. Behind the scenes, tension spilled into production itself. Actors endured harsh lighting and cramped sets built to mimic genuine nuclear compartments. The director demanded constant realism, which meant long hours without rest inside narrow metal spaces. Scenes were repeated dozens of times to capture the precise physical and emotional strain. Even the sound team struggled as steel corridors created overwhelming echoes that ruined perfect takes. Crimson Tide eventually became one of the defining submarine films of modern cinema. Audiences still debate who was right inside that metal battlefield. Scholars continue to dissect its reflections on nuclear ethics and military authority. Its legacy serves as a chilling reminder. Sometimes the deadliest battles are fought not with weapons, but with decisions made in silence deep beneath the waves. Number 2. The Hunt for Red, October, 1990. The Hunt for Red. October surfaced with the reputation of a timeless classic that reshaped the entire submarine thriller genre. Audiences were captivated by its blend of espionage, suspense, and geopolitical drama. Veterans respected its attention to naval detail, and historians recognized its inspiration in real Cold War submarine encounters, including defection attempts and silent cat-and-mouse chases across the open ocean. The story follows a legendary submarine captain who may be attempting to defect with his technologically advanced vessel. Other nations scramble to interpret his intentions. Tension coils through steel hallways as crew members question their fate. Destroyers race across icy waters. Submarines stalk each other in sonar-based whispers. The ocean becomes a stage where strategy instinct and survival intersect in deadly balance. Controversy grew because the film's core idea mirrored real events involving crews dissatisfied with their orders. Some officials claimed that the film revealed too many details about stealth technology. Others insisted it exaggerated certain engineering features. A few critics argued that it presented an overly heroic portrayal of dangerous political choices. These debates only strengthened public interest, fueling theories about the real submarine that may have inspired the plot. Behind the scenes, the production faced enormous challenges. Water tank sequences swallowed hours of shooting time. Sets designed to recreate narrow compartments forced actors to perform shoulder to shoulder in sweltering heat. The visual effects team built miniature submarine models with such precision that even small lighting errors ruined entire sequences. Every shot required patience, technical skill, and relentless coordination. Over the decades, The Hunt for Red October rose to icon status. Fans revisit it for its tension and timeless atmosphere. Military Military circles reference it when discussing stealth strategy. Film schools analyze its pacing and design. Its legacy delivers a message that echoes across generations. Trust becomes the rarest currency in a world drowning in suspicion. Number 1. Below. 2002. Below surfaced with a reputation unlike any submarine film before it. Part war story, part supernatural mystery, part psychological descent. It dared to blend historical truth with chilling imagination. Audiences were drawn to its eerie atmosphere. Veterans admired its depiction of wartime stress. Scholars noted that its foundation was built on several real unexplained incidents aboard submerged vessels, where fear and isolation twisted into something far darker. The story begins as a submarine crew rescues survivors from a damaged ship during the Second World War. Strange events unfold immediately. Instruments glitch with no explanation. Footsteps echo when no one walks above. Officers hide secrets. Tension seeps into every metal crevice. The ocean outside grows colder, as though something unseen circles the hull. What starts as routine naval duty becomes a horrifying confrontation with guilt, paranoia, and hidden history. Controversy surrounded the film because it hinted that real wartime missions carried unspoken tragedies. Some veterans claimed certain scenes mirrored actual events that had been quietly suppressed. Others believed the supernatural twist blurred facts that should remain grounded in history. A small storm of debate grew around its release. Critics grew divided. Some praised its boldness, while others accused it of disrespecting true stories. Behind the scenes, the production struggled to merge two genres smoothly. Sets were built with shifting walls to simulate the unstable feel of a damaged submarine. Actors rehearsed in near total darkness to match the atmosphere of the final scenes. Water effects systems malfunctioned, repeatedly drenching equipment and delaying entire days of shooting. But each problem added another layer of rough authenticity to the claustrophobic experience. Below eventually resurfaced as a cult masterpiece. Fans revisit it for its unsettling blend of war and mystery. Historians re-examine the real missions that may have inspired its hidden tragedies. Its legacy stands as a reminder that beneath the ocean's surface, truth can twist into fear, and fear can twist into legend. Every submarine film in this list reveals a hidden world where silence becomes a weapon and courage becomes a fragile shield. These stories challenge our understanding of truth secrecy and the price paid by those who vanish beneath the waves. So now the question is yours. Which mission felt the most real? Which story left you uneasy? If you enjoyed this journey into the deep, make sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below.